Evening, those who are here in person and also those who are watching at home online, kia ora koutou. We have two live stream cameras. We have one over here and one just over to my left. So wave out, they might be able to see you. It's lovely to have you all here, and I guess before we get started, I'd like to invite Papa Tami up to open us up for our hui this evening.
Ka kemi au ki runga, ka kemi au ki raro, ka kemi au ki roto, ka kemi au ki waho. Ka tiki nātu ngā tāonga mai te toe o ngā rangi, ka koropiti nei i a tātou katoa mai te atua kaharawa. Ke kore mātou e kōtiti i roto i tēnei ao huri e tuki i ngā toka a moana a whenua. No reira tēnei te mihi o te whare o koe ni nāwai hono i te pō, kia koutou e hui tahi nei ki roto o pare hauraki, anei te mihi aroa mai te whare o pōtatau, kia koutou katoa. No reira nau mai hara mai ki tēnei hui a tau o te puna o Waikato, ki te whakarongo ki te hui a tau mai a kua nei ka tū te rangatira nei ki te whakamārama, he aha ngā piki, ngā heke, ngā painga, mō tēnei wahanga o te tau. No reira koutou e hui tahi nei ki te whakarongo, ki te kōrero, me nā hei pātai hia, mā te kore e pātai, e kore e ako, e kore e mohio. No reira huri noa, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, ka heke.
Kia tupu kia hua, ngai ui whānui e. Ko te waka ko ngai urui, e re Waikato awa e. Ko te iwi ko Waikato, te puna e tau nei. Ko te puna o Waikato, e mai nei ngā mahi. Kia tupu kia hua, nā iwi whānui e. Kia tupu kia hua, nā iwi whānui e. Tēnā rā, ko te mea tatahi, tēnā rā koe Papa Tami nau i tuwhirei tō tātou nei hui, i te pō nei, nō reira, nei rā te mihi, tēnā koe. So I'll be your MC this evening. Ko wai tēnei, he uri tēnei no Ngāti Mahuta ki te hauauru, arā ko taharoa, kāwhia moana, kāwhia kai, kāwhia tangata. Ko Nicole Rayner, tōku ingoa. And I'm a member of the grants team here at with Trust Waikato. So it's my honour and privilege to be your MC tonight. And also it's an honour and a privilege for us to be able to hold our APM here in Thames. So thank you very much for allowing us to bring our hui into your rohe. Before we get started, there's just some general housekeeping rules. So the toilets are located where I'm pointing, right next to the bar. If you need the bathrooms. In case of an emergency, we're going to exit out that main exit there. We're going to go across the road to the main car park where we will assemble. And also, if you need a cuppa or a snack during our APM, please feel free to get up and help yourself. Okay. All right. So now we're just going to move on to some apologies of those who were unable to make it due to prior commitments. So the following were unable to join us this evening. So we have former trustee Mike Noonan, trustees Glenda Taituha-Toka, Anjum Ramanj, Stu Husband, and Rangi Mahora Reedy. And from our local government mayors, Axel Back from Waikato District, Mike Pettit from Waipa District, Toby Adams from Hauraki District, and lastly we had David Surridge from Jana. And I'm just going to have a quick run over our program for this evening before we get in, just so you can have an overview. You will have a program there, but we'll be starting off with the Chair's report presented by our Chair Denise Ekatone. Our financial statements presented by our Deputy Chair and Chair of Finance and Audit and Risk Committee, Chris Flatt. We'll then open the floor for any pārtai that anyone may have, and that includes those who are at home watching live. We then have a special guest speaker, Taima Campbell, followed by a special performance from Te Puno o Te Pitomata, the Kapahaka group from Thames High School. And then we'll end with the closing remarks from Dennis. So without further ado, I'd just like to invite Denise up to share her report.
Kia ora koutou. Ko waio, ko Waikato maniapoto tōku iwi, no ngāra wahi ahau. I'm the chairperson of our trust, have been for 2 years now, and honour and a privilege to present this report to you today. Welcome to those who are online, and thank you for those who have travelled today to be here. Before I head into my kōrero, I thought I'd just introduce my fellow trustees that are amongst us, and they're mostly sitting in the front row and one in the back. So I'll just, if you just want to introduce yourselves, and then I'll get into my kōrero.
Kia ora everybody, my name is Terina Ranui, and this is my third year on the trust here at Waikato, and I'm also a teacher at Wahia High School. Sometimes I'm a mum, definitely a wife.
Kia ora tarena.
Kia ora everyone, Rob Dale, I've been a trustee for 4 years, it's going to my 5th year, so it's been a privilege to serve the public.
Kia ora, Desiree Frisk, and it's my first year on the trust board. So looking forward to the journey. Thank you.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko maunga kawa te maunga, ko Waikato te awa, no Cambridge ahau, ko Chris Flatt takianga. Tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora everyone, I'm Chris Flatt, I'm the Deputy Chair, and you'll hear more from me and the fascinating world of financial statements later on. Kia ora.
Kia ora, and malo e rei, acknowledgement of celebration of the Tongan language. Hello, my name is Tuakangaroa Tengu Manitua. Yes, I'm a proud Kuala Māori hail from Aitutaki. It's a privilege and an honour to have served on Te Puno o Waikato for 6 years now. Yes, second term. But it's always, the other blessing has been part of you. Coming out to see and celebrating all the achievements, whether we are in Waikato, wherever we are. But really feeling privileged to be out here in Hauraki. And actually a former brother of ours, who's a former trustee, Mike Noonan, I'm saddened to not see him this evening, but we'll remember him and his massive contribution to this event. So kia ora, have a great evening.
Tana.
Excuse me everyone, I'm Ken Williamson, I'm not standing because I need a new hip and it's coming in a few weeks. I do apologise, but I'm a second trustee.
Kapa, I think that's all of us. Yes, kapa. Okay. Our annual report, which there's copies available for you, and inside that annual report is a report from myself as the chair for the year ended 31st of March 2026. In reality, the past year has been one of listening, learning and looking ahead. As we've moved forward into the next phase of our strategic journey, we've taken time to reflect on our role as a regional funder, on how we continue to support the aspirations of the communities we serve, no doubt as you do too. We acknowledge the guidance of our kaumātua, Matua Tame Pōkaya, whose relationship with the Trust remains deeply valued. Matua Tame continues to walk alongside us, offering direction and perspective that keeps our work grounded and connected to our communities. We also value the strength of our relationship with Ngāti Wairere, who are mana whenua of where our offices are in Hamilton. They continue to guide how we engage locally and how we give effect to te tiriti o Waitangi in our work. A significant focus over the year has been the development of our refreshed strategic plan. Through intensive engagement across the region, we've heard from community organisations, iwi, partners and stakeholders about the realities they are facing and the changes they want to see. These conversations have reinforced the importance of staying connected and responsive. Thank you to those who took time to contribute. The strategy will be released later in 2026. It reflects what we have heard and will guide the next phase of our work. Throughout the year, we also had the opportunity to stand alongside communities as projects were unveiled, milestones were reached, and achievements were celebrated. These occasions strengthened relationships, provided insights into emerging opportunities and challenges, and highlighted the people and organisations contributing to the wellbeing and success of our region. These experiences extend beyond the Waikato, with opportunities to engage in kaupapa that reflected the broader aspirations of our communities. Attending the Indigenous Wellbeing Conference in Brisbane brought together mental health advocates, researchers and community leaders from across Aotearoa, Pacific and Australia. The kōrero shared during the conference reinforced the importance of strengthening social, emotional, cultural and community wellbeing. Closer to home, we witnessed milestones that reflected the strength and vision of a community, of communities. The long-awaited opening of the new BNZ Theatre marked a significant achievement for Waikato, bringing to life the vision of creating a space for storytelling, creativity and connection. As an early supporter of this vision, it was heartwarming to see the theatre open its doors, be embraced by all at both a regional and national level. We acknowledge the opening of the Mata Whānui Hauora Hub in Huntly, a community-led project shaped through strong partnerships, collaboration and shared commitment. The hub will provide whānau with wraparound services that support hauora in a space that strengthens connections with wider community. The inaugural Waikato Social Investment Summit, hosted by the Trust alongside Waikato Tainui and the Waikato Wellbeing Project, highlighted the value of taking a regional approach to social investment, aligning efforts across sectors to better address complex community challenges and creating enduring outcomes. It was inspiring to see over 100 leaders from government, iwi, academia and the community sector unite with a shared commitment to working together. These projects and milestones continue to deepen our understanding of the communities we serve, highlighting the value of community-led approaches, reinforcing our commitment to mana whakahaere. By recognising that communities are best placed to shape their own futures, we are reminded that our role is to support that leadership in ways that are enabling, enduring and grounded in genuine partnership. Together, this strengthens a thriving, connected and resilient Waikato. Alongside our community focus, we continue to strengthen how we manage and grow the Trust's capital. Responsible investment and active stewardship remain an important part of our work, recognising that how we invest contributes alongside our grant making to long-term outcomes for the region. We have continued to embed environmental, social and governance considerations into our investment approach while contributing to wider conversations about the role of investment in supporting positive social and environmental impact. This reflects our responsibility to ensure the Trust's resources are managed with care, now and for future generations. This year we farewelled trustees, our chairperson Vicky McLennan, Chong Feng, and as we mentioned, Matua Mike Noonan and Mike Garrett. Each has contributed meaningfully to our Trust over their time, helping to guide our direction and approach. We make special acknowledgement of Vicky McLennan, who served as chair for 4 years and as trustee since 2017. Vicky's leadership has left a lasting imprint on the Trust, and we thank her for her commitment and care she brought to the role. We welcome new trustees, Rangi Mahora Reedy, Desiree Frisk, and Stu Husband earlier this year. Collectively, they bring a wealth of experience, insight, and fresh perspectives to the board. We also celebrate the reappointment of Rob Dole, whose experience and contribution will continue to support our journey forward. Within our kaimahi, we farewelled Nita McNeil. Nita's from Waihi. From her role as a database and information manager, she was with us for 9 years, and Nita played an important role in supporting both the organisation and many community groups with grant applications. Again, we thank her for her contribution and the support she provided to our community over that time. Looking ahead, we feel energised by what we have seen and heard across the region, encouraged by the strength of our communities. To our trustees in Kaimahi, thank you for the part each of you play in our work and for the care and commitment you bring. Across the region, we continue to see people and communities coming together to support one another, create opportunities and strengthen connections. Much of this work happens quietly, yet it plays an important role in realising vibrant and resilient Waikato communities. It is a privilege to be part of this. Kia ora koutou. I understand there's a video that's going to play now, so over to you.
Every day across the Waikato, communities are creating positive change. At Trust Waikato, we are privileged to support people, whānau and communities to thrive. From sport and recreation to wellbeing, arts, culture, environment and community development, we invest in the aspirations of our region. Guided by our Ngā Pourautaki and mana whakahaere practices, we enable communities to determine their own well-being and destiny. Bringing people together creates opportunities for collaboration, leadership and collective impact. Behind every project is a story. Every grant supports people creating positive change. As we look ahead, we remain committed to supporting the aspirations and resilience of our communities.
Well, that was a lovely snippet of the year that was. I think sometimes when we're in the midst of our work, we sometimes forget what's been done. So it's nice to sit down and be able to see some of that, just as a reminder. Thank you, Janice, for your words and your insights and your kōrero. But now I'd like to hand it over to Chris Flatt to present our financial statements.
Right, just need that a little bit higher. There we go. Can you hear me all right? Kia ora tātou, and thanks again for coming along, everyone, and to those online, welcome and thank you for your time this evening. I know that you are here to hear the fascinating world of our financial statements and reports, and it is a highlight, I know, of your year to hear our accounts. But in all sensible sort of reality, though, is that without this amazing oversight of this money from our advisors and our support team, we couldn't do the amazing work that is done in the community through your organisation. So it is really important that we look after our coin and our cash and make sure it is appropriately administered. So in my capacity as the Trust's Deputy Chair and as the Chair of the exciting Finance, Audit and Risk Committee, the most scintillating committee on any organisation, it is my pleasure to report to you on Trust Waikato's financial report for the year ended 31 March 2026. And it is particularly special to report this as this is my last official duties as the Deputy Chair of this amazing organisation. And it's been an absolute pleasure and honour to serve the Waikato community in a small way over the last 8 years. Please note that copies of the full version of the financial statements are available here tonight or on our website. And I can report that the independent audit has been completed and the auditors have issued an unmodified audit opinion on the Statement of Service Performance, financial statements and accompanying notes. I do want to thank, before I go further, thanks to Mark McCabe, who is here tonight, and all of our team at PwC, who put so much work as our accountants, and also thanks to Murray Dean and our auditor team at KPMG, and David Surridge and all the team at Jana, who also couldn't be here tonight, but provide such amazing financial support to us all. So the reporting that the independent audit has been completed, as I say, and the auditors have issued that unmodified audit opinion on the Statement of Service Performance, financial statements and accompanying notes. This means that in the auditor's opinion, these statements are fairly presented in all respects, and the Trust's financial position, financial performance and service performance have been prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting practice in New Zealand. That's NZGAAP for all of you non-accountants, especially the Tier 1 Public Benefit Entity International Public Sector Accounting Standards. Exciting stuff, but we will get there. An unmodified or clean audit opinion is important, and I want to highlight this. Whilst it is technical and slightly dull for those non-accountants, that clean audit opinion is vital, and it shows that the Trust is in a fantastic position in our finances, and it helps to reassure our stakeholders and the wider public that we're being transparent and prudent with our finances. The unmodified opinion means that the Trust has accurately and transparently reported on its performance. Throughout the audit process, the auditors have reviewed all of our control systems and found them to be robust. The auditors have reviewed all judgments, assumptions, policies made in the annual report and found these to be fair and reasonable for our operations. The auditors have also reviewed both our financial and service performance figures and concluded that these are an accurate representation of the Trust's activities. And I do encourage you to read the report and some of those areas, particularly the Statement of Service Performance. It highlights some of our key achievements as a Trust over the last 12 months. This independent assurance helps strengthen confidence in the Trust and demonstrates our commitment to good governance, sustainable business practices, and development of vibrant and resilient communities through the grants we provide. The financial statements in the annual report are the summarised financial statements, and my comments tonight will refer to those summarised financial statements. So it is again important to point out that the Trust's mission is, as always, to invest wisely, grant effectively, and be operationally agile. As outlined in the summarised statement of comprehensive revenue and expenses, investment income is the Trust's primary source of income. The significant increase from prior year cements the resilience of the Trust portfolio amid global inflationary pressures, geopolitical tensions, and heightened market volatility. As you know, it is a very, very volatile world out there in the financial markets. After allocating $5.3 million to operating expenses and $14.4 million to grants and sponsorships, the Trust recorded a strong operating surplus of $5.2 million for the year ended 31 March 2026. During the 26 financial year, the Trust distributed $14.4 million to the greater Waikato community in cash grants to over 480 recipients. That was $14.4 million. The full list of grants approved is available to view on the Trust's website. I'll now discuss some key figures in those statements. First, the Trust started the year with capital of $412 million. Of this, our opening investment portfolio totaled $403 million. The investment return for the year was 5.6% net of fees. That is a very good rate of return net of fees. And again, a big thanks to all of the team, Jana, KPMG, and our auditors who collectively, along with our amazing staff, and particularly Maggie Zhang, who oversees these accounts, you can see this is a part of that collective result of that work. The Trust invests in a range of financial assets through selected fund managers and owns 2 properties. That's the Trust House and the main Trust building. The managed fund investments are in various domestic and international funds, including shares, bonds, property, credit, private equity, and infrastructure. The Trust investment portfolio stood at $417.7 million at 31 March 2026. So I talked earlier that the operating surplus for the year after grants and sponsorships was $5.2 million. So how did we manage this, and what does this mean? During the period, the Trust raised $25 million from our investing activities. That was $25 million raised from that investment. This is a significant increase from the $17.5 million raised in the previous year, further showing the resilience of the Trust's portfolio. The Trust also aims to maintain the initial capital. So in 1996, the value of that initial capital was $169.8 million. We maintain that with an adjustment for inflation and regional population growth each year. We call this adjusted initial capital the base capital value. This year, $9.1 million was able to be added to the base capital value to provide for inflation and population growth. So the base capital value now stands at $381 million, and the value of the Trust fund is now well above that figure. The Trust maintains an investment fluctuation reserve. The purpose of this reserve is to set aside funds for future periods of low returns to allow the Trust to continue providing grants to the community in line with this purpose. So this year, a net transfer of $3.9 million was made from this reserve to the base capital fund, ensuring continued support for our communities. The investment fluctuation reserve now sits at $22.6 million, which is at a level that is considered sufficient to protect the Trust's capital in times of low returns. The Grants Reserve sets aside funds for the Community Impact Grant Fund, which is aimed at bringing about transformative change in our communities. That Grants Reserve is now sitting at $9.5 million as at 31 March. So together, the base capital value of $381 million, the combination of various reserves for investments, grants, land revaluation of $36 million, gives that total Trust funds a value of $417.6 million. On top of this, the Trust has managed to grow its asset base by $14 million in the current year. This is thanks to the increase in market value of the investments we hold. So in summary, despite market volatility, ongoing global uncertainty, the Trust has further strengthened its financial position and performance. Through prudent financial management, strong investment returns, disciplined reserve planning, the Trust funds have continued to grow while protecting the base capital value for future generations. The Trust has maintained sufficient reserves to safeguard capital for future periods of lower investment returns, ensuring it remains well positioned to provide sustainable grant funding and ongoing support for our communities. And finally, as I said earlier, can I take this opportunity to thank all of you and the organisations you represent for the work and commitment you provide to our Waikato community. Your passion, energy for this region and its many diverse communities is greatly appreciated. Finally, on a personal note, it has been an absolute honour and privilege to serve on this Trust for 8 years. I leave, it is a very different Trust than a number of us came into, and I want to thank Dennis and Maggie and all the team here today, Mel and everyone, all of our team, for the amazing work that you give to our Trust. We are well blessed to have this amazing team serving our communities. And to Janice and to all of the trustees, I wish you all the very best. You have an amazing group of trustees, and it is an absolute honour to have this role and in some small way give back to our mighty Waikato community. Kia ora.
Well, thank you, Chris, and wishing you all the best. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to open up the floor. I'm going to invite Dennis, our Chief Executive, up, Dennis Turton, to answer any questions that you may have. And this also goes for those who are online. Some questions may come through there as well.
Thank you. Before we go to questions, I just want to acknowledge, Janice, the work that you do for the Trust as Chair. We have a great relationship, I think. I know that you're now busy in your day job, but you still give so much for us, and I really enjoyed your reflection upon the year that's just gone, and so thank you for that. Chris, no doubt we will say our farewells at an appropriate time. I just want to acknowledge you, Chris, in terms of people talk about diversity of boards, and having a white male as diverse is not maybe thought of as diversity, but Chris's diversity of thinking is so important and has shaped some of our real key strategic advances that we've made over the last period of time. So Chris, I really want to acknowledge the input and the thought and the dedication that you've given to the Trust as well. Thank you. Now is the time for any questions that you may have. And if I can't answer them, which I probably won't, I'll pass them to someone else. And that's why I'm standing, I can do that. But if anyone has any questions, and look, I will also take your thanks from everybody, and we'll get that out of the way so that you don't have to spend time thanking us. I'll take that as read. But if you do have any questions or comments, please feel free to stand up. We have some microphones running around, and we can go from there as well. Does anyone want to break the ice?
Warriors year.
I can spend a couple of hours talking about that if you like, but... Hey, Matthew. Here we go.
With the amalgam, with the councils under the pressure of what's going to happen, and some of them yet to make a decision of where they're going, and the government stepping in and maybe doing things, in the council of the Waikato District Council that we're currently under, are now talking the ocean, from the lake to the ocean, which is from Taupo to Port Waikato, which is one hell of a region. Are you looking at changing any of the dynamics of your region to move whatever may be necessary for councils moving to another body?
Yeah, we had a discussion today at the board meeting around how things could be better if councils talked into council and made decisions not just based on their own need, but maybe on the need of other neighbours and how that may play out. So your question is quite relevant. I suppose we have to be reasonably neutral as to what may come of it. We won't change our boundaries at all. We're locked and loaded in terms of an act of parliament. But we look at this really interestingly, because what's important for us, and always has been important, is how do you bring community voice through so that community voice informs more than probably what it does now. And that's really important for us. Hauraki here recently did a bit of research around a Hauraki voice. Michelle was involved in that time. Are you a leader of that? And that really identified key motivations and key things that would ensure the well-being of the community was at the forefront of decisions. And so there's mechanisms that could be at play, and we're really interested to see what that may look like. Similarly with the Social Investment Agency, how does that look for the Waikato? How can we bring in that thinking into the Waikato so that we can get the best out of that? And there is conversations going on around that as well. So hopefully that answered a question maybe. If not, here we go.
Thank you. I'm Moira from Kiwi Care. Seeing you here in the wonderful Coromandel. I've got a question about embedding the environmental outcomes, and you've referred to that, but looking at where the funding goes, I think it's about 4% that's going to environmental projects, and there's just been a report out about grants in the Waikato generally saying how underfunded the environment. And so if we're looking long term at community wellbeing and future generations, I guess my question is there a plan to actually fund the environment at a little more than 4%?
Look, I can tell you that 2017 we never funded environment, and that was included into the strategic plan at that time, and we have funded into that. And that through the stakeholder engagement that we've had with our next 10 years, that's been further embedded into our plan as well. Whilst the numbers say 4%, the thinking and the work is a lot higher than that. I personally am on a steering group through the Waikato Regional Council and seeing how we can bring community voice through to the Regional Council and through to DOC, and that's resulted in sub-regional groups coming together, led by the Haraki Coromandel Predator-Free Trust and Go Eco, in terms of advocating for funding, and Regional Council has released funding to those two organisations to pass out. There is the Kite Te Taio, which is a GSI mapping tool that's been instrumental in plotting on the map the activity that's going on and around the environment, and we have granted community licences for that. So whilst it may be small, we are really focused on doing this. We are at the forefront of thinking about climate action in terms of what that means for us as a trust and as a community. We were one of the founding trusts for the funders' commitment to climate action. I'm currently chair of that group, and we are looking to see how we can bring climate action into our group. And I think we categorised our funding differently to see what you see there, and there's been, I think it's about 24% of our funding is going into climate action work now as well, so quite closely followed in the environment. And the other last thing I would say is that we granted some money recently to the Mangatauchuri Sanctuary Mountain, where they have developed nature-based credits that are internationally traded on markets where organisations who have an impact on the environment and on biodiversity can buy credits to offset their the biodiversity impact that they have. And they're raising significant money now out of that as well. So looking at other ways that funding could come through into the Waikato as well. So a lot of work going on, and definitely the environment is a key. When you think of the intersection between people and the land, they go together, and you can't break those two. So, yeah. Thank you for all the work that you do as well. Cool. Here's, yeah. Here comes Matthew. Do you want this?
Tēnā koutou katoa, tēnā koe tame. Just good evening, everyone. Sorry, Dennis, I know you said we're not to say thank yous, but just on behalf of Holly Snape, Community Waikato Chief Executive, Jeremy Mail, the Creative Waikato Chief Executive, and I'm very proudly standing alongside as the Sport Waikato Chief Executive. My name's Matthew Cooper. Just wanted to acknowledge the trustees and kaimahi of Trust Waikato and the many organisations here tonight who make such a difference across our region. As three regional organisations receiving significant long-term investment, we recognise both the privilege and also the responsibility that comes with that. Our role is to help strengthen the capacity, capability, connections of the wider community across the greater Waikato region, and of the wider through community, through creative, and through sport and recreation sectors, supporting many of the organisations that are here and right across the region, helping their impact and our impact reach further. Through that collective effort, we're proud to advance Trust Waikato's vision of vibrant and resilient communities. Chris, just a quick note from us to acknowledge you. You spoke about in your report around aspirations, and you spoke about resilience. There's one thing that we always say around generations. You enable the current generation to have the opportunity. And there's a lot going on in this world where current generations could be missing out. But if there's one organisation throughout this country, Trust Waikato is enabling generations, this current one, not to miss out through opportunity. Thank you for your trust, your leadership and your enduring commitment to our region. Thank you.
Thank you, and I acknowledge the work of the 3 umbrella trusts, as we call them. Significant amount of work that goes on there, and we work closely together, and thank you for all your work as well. If there is... Oh, Tommy. We'll get a microphone for you.
Waikato te awa he piko he taniwha. There are many bends in the Waikato River, and there is a group that goes into the Waikato River on the side of the Waikato River, and they take rubbish out of the Waikato River, which has been thrown over the different bridges. So I just want to acknowledge the work that they do, keeping the river clean. Now the police, when they contact me, sometimes they don't know the difference with water flow, because they said there's a person that drowned. So I want you to put a rahui. A rahui means you put a tapu on the river, so no one goes in until they locate that tūpapaku or that body. I said, where did the person go in? They said, over here by the police station, there's a bridge that goes there. And where did you find it? Oh, I found it upstream. Well, straight away, they haven't been taught tikanga, a body doesn't float upstream. It floats downstream. So these are training, they casualise things and they haven't been trained. Bodies never go upstream unless the taniwha drags it up and the taniwha name changes name to drag. Just want to make those points. There's many more, but I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you so much, and acknowledge your work in that too, Tommy, around, at times of really trouble, you're there to support those, when they're finding those bodies in the river.
Thank you. At the risk of being political, and I'm a local politician, has there been, over the last 2 or 3 years, a noticeable increase in people, organisations applying for grants where the funding that they may have been getting, whether it's from Waka Kotahi or whatever, has, let's say, dried up, and that you're being asked to help that out? Because I know councils certainly are, and I was just wondering if grant organisations like yourself are also noticing that.
Yeah, significant difference we've noticed, and thank you for your work you do locally as well. Typically, we were seeing that we'd have about 2.5% more requests for our money than we had to give away. With the risk of being political or not being political, with a change of focus on some of these government organisations, that number has gone to 4.5 times. And so significant need going on from groups looking, this is the way that we do things in New Zealand, right? And funding is needed for us to do that. But the need is great. And it's not only government funding that's been cut, local government funding's been cut, and then we're seeing changes to the DIA lotteries funding, and we're not sure how that's going to play out yet. And then there's a few other funders within the Waikato changing focus and strategy as well. So we see there could be a reduction in overall funding. There's just been a report being completed which will be released. In fact, it has been released, but probably not widely, around funding in the Waikato. And there was something like $80 million of philanthropic gambling money, etc., coming into the Waikato. And we're going to try and unpack that because I don't see that level of funding at all. It's interesting. Thanks.
Kia ora, Dennis. This is a message from online, Paula Southgate. On behalf of Well Energy, we acknowledge your amazing mahi, impact on the community and your genuine partnership approach. We look forward to continuing to work together. In brackets, please share. Kia ora.
Thank you, Paula. I'm so glad that you got the link because I didn't quite get it out to you, but thank you as well. Great. Cool. If there is no other comments, questions, it's my pleasure now to introduce our guest speaker. And I just want to give you a little bit of context. Earlier this year, or maybe last year, the New Zealand Graduate School of Medicine was announced, and it's a new medical school established by the University of Waikato. And it's there to address the shortage, New Zealand's shortage of doctors, but particularly in primary care, rural and regional communities. And it's planned to take its first intake in 2028. And it's the first graduate entry medical school in the country, meaning that they can come along for a 4-year degree, but they must already have a degree. A distinctive feature of the graduate school is that it has a strong focus on community-based learning. And the program includes community clinical learning centres and the regional locations around the Waikato and indeed around the country. And this allows students, medical students, to live and train in the communities where the doctors are needed most. And that's something that we at Trust Waikato are very interested in. The university believes that this approach will ensure that the recruitment and retention of doctors into underserved parts of New Zealand is paramount. Our guest speaker tonight, and it's my privilege to welcome Taimar Campbell to come and speak as Chief Executive of Hauraki Primary Health Organisation, Hauraki PHO. Taimar is a respected nurse leader in healthcare whose career spans many decades, a couple of years. And since becoming a registered nurse in the 1980s, she's dedicated her career to improving health's outcomes for all, but particularly Māori, and strengthening nurse leadership and advancing equity across the health system. Her leadership journey has included senior roles across the Waikato, Auckland, counties Manukau, where she has led transformational change in work in nursing, quality improvement, workforce development and organisational change. And today, as Chief Executive of the Hauraki PHO, Taimar continues to champion kopapa Māori approaches to healthcare, ensuring that whānau and community voices are at the centre of service design and delivery. Under her leadership, the Hauraki PHO has played a key role in developing Te Tara o Te Whai, which is a localised health plan, which, if it's still available, it is worth reading. It is absolutely a world-class document, bringing together partners and communities to shape health services that reflect local aspirations and priorities. She has also supported innovative approaches such as Niho Ora Ki Horaki, improving the access to oral health care for the whānau across the region. Taimar is a passionate advocate for rural and community healthcare, widely respected for her commitment to ensuring that Māori perspectives are embedded into health decision-making and service delivery. Please join me in welcoming a leader whose experience, vision and commitment continue to make a lasting difference for whānau across our communities. Thank you.
Up and running, but I thank you very much, Dennis, for that long introduction. The journey that you've taken through your career, the things that you have tried to achieve, the people that you have touched and the people you've worked alongside. So it was a nice kind of, a little bit of a trip down memory lane. But kei te tuau ki mua I a koutou, nōku te honore I tēnei wā. It's so great to have you come to Hauraki and to kind of have your meeting here and the opportunity for me to share a little bit about what we're doing here as well, if we can get things to work. Ka pai, that's all right. We'll just leave it on that one for a minute. Ka pai. All right. So, no mai hara mai ki hauraki te au te āwhia. It's a common whakatauki for this, for our place, and it references the journey of the Aute plant that came across on the Tainui Waka. And like many of the plants that came alongside our waka, some of them didn't survive here. It's a bit too cold, wasn't the climate for things. But the Aute came across on the waka and it did. And so the kōrero was in relation to the Aute plant, which actually survived and thrived for a period of time here in Hauraki. So it's a common kind of saying, which is also a reference, if you like, come to Hauraki, the place where the Aute endured, where things, where potential can be grown. And might be that there's a push. There is an audio that goes with it and a waita, but I'm not doing that one. But it's my privilege to be here as one of the mokopuna o tēnei whenua, no Pari Hauraki, Ngāti Tamatera, Ngāti Maru, Ngāti Kiriwera Ngā Hapu. And my whānau are all from this space. I used to visit here when I was younger to kind of, spend time down at Te Puru. That's our papakainga down there. And it was always like, oh, do we have to go there again? But, as you do, you sort of gravitate back to the spaces where you had sort of those memories and those kind of connections. And so I'm also now a resident down in Coromandel. And we also have another kōrero, which is hauraki ki uta, hauraki ki tai. So it's reference really to the waters that run from the inland out to the sea. And we have a lot of rivers, so a lot of them go into flood from some time to time, and we also have a lot of great kind of places in terms of tikapa and our other beaches. So just wanted to let people know, if you're planning your Christmas and summer holidays, it's a good opportunity to come and sort of, be here, but it's kind of also encouraging a little bit, because from an economic perspective, like some places around the country, and you go to the next one, we've also had our fair share of challenges. So many of us are amateur meteorologists now, because we're all trying to figure out what the lay of the land's going to look like today. So, like most places, we have the good and the bad. And, Te Tara o Te Ika o Māui, the Coromandel Peninsula is a pointy piece of land that sticks out and captures all the, the weather from that's coming down from the south, and sort of it's just perfectly designed to hit the hills to fall down. Because people ask, how come you get so many weather events? And I'm saying, well, the whenua is not moving. I just thought I'd just do a little bit of a snapshot about the number of people that we do have here, and I guess it sort of changes all the time depending on what data that you look into. And now I'm wondering, with councils making changes to the sort of the way that we count things, what that's going to look like for us. But we are a sort of thriving Māori community, but we also have a thriving kind of ageing population here. So I think, there's often a conversation about who's got the sort of the oldest ageing population. I'd like to say it's not us, but I think apparently we're up there. But we are kind of also a great place in terms of communities where people look after each other, we work together and those kinds of things. And I think there are a number of different reports and different things that we do to sort of support what we're trying to do. And I think in the communities, in rural communities, if you need help after hours, if we've got something that's going wrong, if you've got any of those civil defence emergencies, the community really comes out to support each other on those occasions. So I think we're no different to a lot of other communities, but I think we've also got sort of our challenges. One of the biggest ones is summer. And so a lot of the planning that happens, particularly from the health sector, is around winter. And I hope everyone here has had their flu shots earlier this year, because influenza A is kind of, really a bit of a problem at the moment. But our problem is summer as well. And we get an influx of people, which is fantastic. But what that does is obviously put a lot of pressure, I think, on some of our infrastructure and our resources. Next one. And thank you, Dennis, for the reference to our work around locality work. So under the previous government, we did start down a journey which was starting to look at how do localities have an opportunity to have a voice and a say in the things that they think matter to them. And we were fortunate to be one of the original prototypes, but I think our work around working as a locality started way before then. I think I was looking through some material and I was thinking, you know, rural communities always are out there looking after each other. We had weather events for some time now, but we also had COVID prior to this, and that really, you know, creates the opportunity for working together. So we went on a bit of a journey. We enjoyed the opportunity of kind of connecting with lots of different communities. And it's not something you do once either. So I think, you know, that's always the thing. Sometimes we did these things a little while ago, you know, do they still stand? But there's some opportunities for us to think a little bit about how we might be able to do other things. So this was our journey. Next slide. But we didn't do it by ourselves. And so we established an alliance. So an alliance is really a coalition of the willing. It was using the collective impact framework, where people with sort of shared agendas come together to put their resources, their creativity and their energy in together to kind of achieve some, you know, outcomes. There were some things that we did well, and there were some things I guess we probably would have liked to have the chance to continue to do. But just to acknowledge, it was very much focused at the beginning around some of our health sector, because this funding came from the health sector, but not exclusively. So we worked with our kāhui hauora in the community, so Te Whāriki, the Hauraki Māori Trust Board, Te Korowai, alongside our PHO kind of colleagues, the Waikato Wellbeing, because we didn't know what to do or how to work in that kind of space. So I think we relied on Harvey particularly to coach us a little bit. And so with everyone's help, and there were other players, the councils as well, we kind of started to kind of work in a way that we had never done so before. And we put together a community plan, and we have almost finished delivering on that plan. We didn't get all of it right, but I think that I'm really pleased and sort of impressed and proud of the way that we did pull together some of the resources we had to make things happen. But one of the key objectives in there that the community said, and this was actually Cheryl Wright, who is, I don't know if people know her, but she's a midwife up in Colville. Her comment when we went to Colville said that the problem with being a rural health practitioner is there's no days off. And she's right. I mean, for midwives, it's tough anyway, but if you're in a rural community, it's even harder. So you have to make some different decisions about what you're going to do, and often that has some impact for yourself and your well-being. So we've been working around what are we going to do better or differently in that space for a wee while now. Some of it's been helpful, but some of it we needed a little bit of help with. And so we signed, as part of the kind of the preparation for the University of Waikato, a memorandum of understanding about how we would collectively work with the university and the school to kind of make a difference. And I also wanted to say that it's not just the med school, you know, they have other disciplines that are trained through there. So I'm particularly interested in nursing and midwifery, but not exclusively. We'll take all those kind of roles because we need all of those people. So that's just a little bit of I guess, our relationship. And the next one, I'm also not a Waikato University employee. So these are their slides, not yet anyway. But I've seen the presentation many times, and I've kind of, you know, been able to share it with it because there's a lot of interest at the moment about what's happening. And I have to say it's been quite a political journey as well, given that we also are dating the University of Auckland. I'm just saying. But, you know, we're interested in any of the education providers and trainers that can bring a workforce into our community. So, you know, we'll work with everybody. So I don't know how they're tracking in terms of the build over in Hamilton. So, you know, the soil's been turned, you know, building has started. But what I want to talk a little bit more about is what's going to be happening here. And Dennis, you talked a little bit about the program, and so it is a program where it's a graduate entry, so you already have to have a qualification, and they say it does not have to be a health one, but I guess that's kind of, that will be tested. But we already have graduate entry programs for nursing, midwifery and some other disciplines now through Waikato, so it's not an entirely new model. The idea is they have a crash course in year one in Hamilton, so the new facility being built is to kind of accommodate the 120 students that are due to start, and to kind of give them that crash course in all the foundational sciences and other things over there. So the first year of education is really all at Hamilton. Apparently we are looking at having some placements in general practice and in the community during that time, but we haven't landed that yet. The next part of the program is going out to regional hospitals, and in this case that's Thames, and that's where they're going to have some of the other experiences. The issue we have a little bit is that Thames Hospital doesn't have some of those specialties, so there's still a little bit of a gap for us to fill. But the year that interests us the most is the third year, where they're having a longitudinal placement. So most times a placement is when you kind of spend some time in an area, might be 6 weeks, might be 12 weeks if you're lucky. What makes this program different is the immersion in primary care for that period of time. So in this case, I'm looking at being in general practice, being in acute care, and then a day somewhere else. And we're thinking, some of those students are going to be spending time with midwives, they're going to be spending time with nurses, they're going to be spending time out in the community. We don't really have acute care per se in Hauraki at the moment, but watch the space. But that might be also spending time in our ED departments as well. And then the last year is when I guess they get into that kind of intern mode. And that aligns well with the rest of the other medical programs in terms of having an intern role. But once you finish the program, you're not a doctor as such. So there is 2 more years of training of what we call junior doctor years. The postgrad 1 and 2 years. Postgrad 1 year has to be usually under a higher degree of supervision than year 2, but there is some opportunity for those roles to also work in general practice on placement. Once you finish those years, then you're ticked, you're done, you don't need supervision, you're off. Next one. So this is a little bit about what the program entails, and I guess I've sort of summarised some of those things. But the other key part for us is this is our opportunity to make sure that the students have a great learning experience. So if people are from our community, learning in our community, coming back to our community, they'll get it. But we're also going to be looking for people who want to move here and live here and be part of our community as well. And so the experience that they have will, be a really big influence. So the plan will be that the students will have be able to rotate around the peninsula. We're still working through some of the details. And they will also be living in some of those communities. Commuting from Colville to Thames Hospital is not particularly feasible, but the Colville community have well and truly indicated their interest to look after and host students up there, because that's what they're going to need to be able to have the workforce of the future. And I don't think Kate Armstrong's here today, so she would have told you all of that by now. So that's the kind of the main thing. So for us, it's kind of how we make that experience works. The other thing is they have to live here. And so the other side of things for us, one of the challenges is looking at accommodation. So where are these people who might have families, where are they going to live? Those are things still to be worked through, but these are people these are adults, they're not our students that are going to want to live in a dormitory style of living or anything like that. Now, we struggle a little bit with accommodation in Coromandel and Hauraki, but we have a lot of empty houses. So it's hard to kind of pull the strings which says we don't have enough houses. We do, but we just don't seem to have enough that are available. So that's probably something from a community's perspective we need to work on. We might also need to think a little bit about these people will have partners. They might have families. They'll need to think about school. Their partners might need jobs. These are not dissimilar to the same issues we have when we're recruiting doctors from overseas, where we need to find the ways of making it easier. Because if you're partner is happy, it's easier for you to learn. Next one. So we've been identified as one of the preferred, and it's a long name, so everyone talks about CCLCs now. It's like we're all talking of abbreviations, but it's really about having a learning site where the students can be, where they can have classes. You know, it's a space of learning, and has all the data and the IT that they're going to need for their programs. We developed a proposal earlier on this year as part of our alliance, and we pulled together a number of different people. I'd have to say it was one of the easiest things to get people to, and I think that's a reflection of the interest in the community and being part of this. Great support. The hub has to be in Thames, I guess, is the rules, because it has to be close to the hospital. So I know other people would prefer it to be somewhere else, but you know, that's where we landed. And as it turns out, Ngāti Maru have identified a whare that we can actually use and that they will repurpose. So there's a little bit of a whare there now, but the idea is that that's going to be changed. And so that's immediately opposite the hospital. So when people are on call or going backwards and forwards, that kind of stuff, they've got a space to go to where they need to. And the next step will be looking at establishing a local leadership group. And we've kind of got some of that in train, but it's not exclusive. But we're waiting really for the university to be ready for us, because we're ready for them. This gives a fuller picture of where the other sites are going to be. So we're not the only one, but the interesting part is when we talk about, from a health perspective, we talk about Te Manawataki, or the Midland area. The majority of the sites are in the Midland area, not all. And that's largely because of the negotiation between Auckland University and Otago in terms of, you know, where students are going to go. But it just gives you a bit of an insight in terms of the other things. And these are all happening, apparently, at the same time. So a bit of a challenge and different arrangements in different places, but definitely an ambitious kind of task. So in terms of next steps, the recruitment for the first intake in 2008 starts next year. So it's 6 months ahead. So they're a calendar year intake, and what we're just getting our heads around is what is it going to take to get people in there? Because these are the questions that aunties, uncles, you know, parents are asking in terms of how do we get there? So again, a B grade average, but the one we're trying to understand is the GAMSAT score, which is a computer-generated kind of aptitude type of test. And you can take it so many times and do these things, but it's $700 a pop. So we're thinking a little bit about where are our, you know, first candidates, and you know, how do we support them to be eligible for this? So that's one of the things that we're thinking about at the moment. And then there's going to be some other processes apparently in terms of communities and people being able to be part of the assessment processes. You know, what we're after isn't just the brightest and the best student. You know, I want that, but I also want a person that's going to work with our community, with our whānau in a way that we think will make a difference. And so really I think, I haven't got myself on the interview panel yet, but I'm working on it. So that's starting shortly. So that's, I guess, while it is only, it's August now, it will be surprisingly quick, and the demand is going to be high. There's a lot of interest because, I mean, there's already quite a long wait list if you want to get into Auckland or Otago, so Waikato's going to be seen as a really good option. And apart from getting, you know, the obvious, which is more doctors, I think it tends to also lift the game for other professions. So I'm interested in sort of those additional benefits. Obviously, it's going to make it better in terms of access to healthcare, and what we need to do is make sure we, as well as training people, we keep them. Again, we have to find a way of keeping people in our community, but the best option is really people from our community and supporting them through that journey. There's been some analysis around what the economic impact or benefit will be, and I think some of the council crew have helped me a little bit with some of that, but this is the university's kind of math. But I mean, you're really having more people coming into the the community is going to sort of lift things a bit. We do need to do some building. Equally, some of the practices need to do some building because they might not have enough space. So there's a few conversations about those things, and accommodation is going to be a key part. Our practices aren't doing it for free, but they also in return have to do some other work to earn, what looks like sort of a reasonable amount, but actually, as it turns out, you still have to have a doctor that's appropriately qualified for supervising. Just recently, the other part of this, when you think a little bit about that previous slide about how many of these centres we've got, someone's got to coordinate them. Who's going to know who's going where, who needs to go to that place, who can go to that place. I can't go there, I need to go somewhere else. So there's going to be a little bit of work that's going to come through what is the newly established Te Ara Tupu, which is the Manawataki Regional Workforce Hub, which is a brand new initiative, went live 1st of July, so we're still figuring out what we're doing. But we will be working alongside the Waikato University to look at the clinical placements. So this is a new initiative. So there are 4 regional hubs that have only just become new. And why we think this is a good alignment is because of the, this is looking at the existing workforce, but it's an opportunity for us to create some infrastructure, some coordination functions that can actually look more widely across and accommodate the future kind of development. So I'm in partnership, if you like, with Pinnacle Midlands, one of the bigger PHOs in the Manawataki, and Justin Butcher is one of my partners in crime. But we've partnered up to do this because I think that's the right thing to do in terms of an equity-based approach. But we're very keen, and we put in, I guess, our focus for us is developing our community workforce. The new doctors of the future aren't really just going to knock on the door and say, "I'm here." You have to grow them. So I haven't got a great plan yet. I've got the beginnings of a plan. But we want to start off by sowing the seed. So some of this is about with our careers guidance counsellors, it's with our parents, it's with our whānau, it's with our kura, to say that there's a potential here and you might want to think about it. Equally, I know a lot of trusts and other organisations have provided scholarships to different people, and I look through the Hauraki Māori Trust Board scholarship recipients and I go, there's a health one, there's a health one, there's a health one. So where are these guys? Are they interested in doing this? Equally, we need to find out other people that are getting scholarships and say, is this something you're interested in? We need to create an environment that is welcoming, that provides that manaaki for anyone that comes into our area, that creates a great experience, that we have a say around what the curriculum might look like, and yes, cultural safety is still going to be there. So we want to be able to do those things. But more importantly, I think for us is we need to also think ahead and grow our potential. So like the Oti, it didn't survive without having some care and being supported and nourished. And I think really for our workforce of the future, this is the area that we want to kind of invest some time and maybe invest some of your resources in, so that we actually have the workforce we need for the future. Kia ora.
You stay here for a moment. Do you want to? Yeah. Look, thank you very much, Taimara. I'm always inspired by your strong leadership, and I see this sort of leadership right around the Waikato as well. Reinforces the trust view that we don't sit around making decisions that we think will fix organisations. We answer to community aspiration, and that is because of the leadership that you provide and demonstrate as well, and thank you for your time. We do have a little gift here for you as thank you for giving up your time and coming and talking to us today. Thank you so much.
It's a little bit of a hazard, that cord, but it's okay. So we're nearing the end of our our hui this evening, but we have one last special treat. We would like you all to join me in welcoming Te Puna o Te Pitomata.
tuku i ngā mihi. Whainga pai mau ngō pare hauraki ka mātai whetua tuki taupiri maunga. Tō tātou ariki nui a kuini ngā waihono i te pō. E kawe ana i te kaupapa o te kotahitanga. E kawe ana i te kaupapa o te mana motu hake. E kawe ana i te kaupapa o te kotahitanga. E mātua moi o ana ko te kaupapa o te koronei hana e kaina hui nei. I ngā wiki e tata nei. Ko i ako tuku nei tōna reo karanga. I ngā tōpito katoa o te motu whānui. Kia hui hui ai tātou ki runga i atūranga waiwai. Ka tuku atu i ngā mate. Ka tuku atu i ngā hupe. Ka tuku atu i ngā roimata kia rātou māko wheturangitia. I ngā marama ko pahuri aki nei. Ka tika rā tērā o ngā kaupapa. Tu heita ki te rangi mautonu. Ko ngā waihono i te pō ki te whenua. Rire hau. Pai rire. Tēnei rā ngā mihi o ngā tamariki o ngā moko puna o te kuratua rua o te kauairanga. Ko tai mai i tēnei ahi ai. Te whakanui i tō koutou nā noho ngā tahitanga i tēnei pō. Nā reira ka tuku i ngā mihi kia koutou e te puna o Waikato. Ko hui mai, ko karepene mai. Ki wainganui a tātou i tēnei pō, ki te wānanga i te wānanga, ki te kōrero i te kōrero. Tēnei ka mihi. No mātou te whiwhi te rōpu kapahaka o te puna o te pitomata. Hei taunaki i ngā kōrero o tō tātou nei whaia ati taima. Ko taima i te pō nei ki te kōrero kia koutou. No mātou te whiwhi, no mātou hoki te maringani. Ka tuku i ngā mihi ki tō puna i whanaunga. Nāna te reo karanga kia taima i tātou i te pō nei nā reire te whanaunga. Tēnā ka tuku i ngā mihi atu kia koe. I whai whakaro koe ki o tātou nei tamariki, ki o tātou nei moko puna. O te kura nei. Kia haere mai ki te tautoko. No mātou te whiwhi, no mātou hoki te maringanui i te whānau. Tēnā koutou, puri, tēnā rā tātou katoa.
Kura te wini, kura te wana, moi hau te aroha, ka maunga tō patu tai, singu tai, pare hawa te renei, wai hawa i ne muri te moana tīkapa, auraki te whenua e. Auraki te whenua, ai te waka, hotua te tangata e.
Hurry up.
Ka pai, one more time, paki paki mai, mō ngā maniti o rere. Tēnā rā tātou katoa, nei rā te tuku mihi ki a koutou, mō ngā waiata me ngā haka a tāhua rau atu, nei rā te mihi. And we'd just like to wish you all the best for the upcoming festival. So all the best, and before you leave, we just have a small koha as a token of our appreciation. Nō reira, tēnā rā. Kia ora, kia Right, well I think that was a beautiful end to our evening. We just have one more speaker, and that's our Chief Executive, Dennis Turton. Thank you.
I'm not really going to speak. I'm just going to say thank you for coming along and tuning up. I don't do this by myself, so I want to invite my team up, and they never like to do it, but they will come up, please. Nicole, I really want to thank you for emceeing tonight and stepping up. Really great. And also for this beautiful photo that you let us use. We weren't allowed to put it on the cover, but I think that's a really, really special photo, and thank you so much. So Tarita, Hayley, Mel, and we've got a couple of new sign-ons, Aaron and Xavier, and obviously Jasmine and Orongo. So we've heard that Nita left us earlier this year after 9 years, and we want to thank you for her service, and she did a great job. Aaron stepped into her role, but with an expanded view of how can we do things a little bit differently. And we also don't have Maggie with us tonight. Maggie's away on a parental leave, maternity leave. She had a baby boy 3 weeks ago. And we've got some really cute photos as well. I think Maggie might be online, so if you are, hello, and hope things are going well. I know that you've got lots of support, but we are thinking of you. And Xavier's come into that role and stepped into the finance lead role as well. So this is the team that delivers all the work, so thank you so much for all that you do. And you all are going to stay here as I invite Tommy up to close us off, please. Thank you.
E tuatahi e huri au ki te rā ropu kapahaka. Nā rātau e mihi ana ki te kuini nā wai honong i te pō, no reira ka reo e tuarua tia te rā kōrero. No te mea ko ngā tikanga mai ngā kingi, he koe i runga i te hu Mārie me te rangi Mārie. Ka oe haere me ko koe te rangatira. Ka oe mahi koe i pērā, haere i runga i te hu Mārie. No reira koutou e hui tahi mei. Nei, i tēnei wā, kānui te aroha ki au koutou, hara mai ki te whakarongo, ki te whakatakoto kōrero, tēnei te mihi aroha ki au koutou. E te atua kaharawa koe nei mātou e whakairi ngā ke te kōrero ki te pakitara o te whare, a pōpō ka tiki nātu te rā kete, ka tiruhia i roto, he hata mahi mau mō tātou. We'll hang that basket on the wall. Tomorrow, we take it off the wall and look. Okay, Tommy, you've got to go and wash your car and scrub your house and go and scrub Dennis as well and scrub everyone else. So it is a list of things to do for the hapori. It could be small little things or it could be quite big, like council and stuff like that. But there are some kaupapa I go to it, do my job, and boy, I'm the fastest runner when I leave. Ko reira tēnā koutou kaheke.
Thank you. Sorry, before we start, Renee was outside. You have to get up. Renee is responsible for putting all this together today, and she snuck outside. So thank you. Did a great job. Sorry. Let's go.
Tu tira mai ngā iwi, tātou tātou e. Tu tira mai ngā iwi, tātou tātou e. Whai a te maramatanga, me te aroha e ngā iwi, ki a te tapatahi, ki a potahi rā, tātou tātou e. Tātou tātou e.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. And that us is ended for the night. Thank you so much for coming along.